Hi, Pete.
Hi.
Thanks for coming here. Thanks for coming at Fowlers for this bike night. First of all, well done for your tremendous win at the TT. Crazy average speed, which was, if I look quickly at my note, 135.492 miles per hour average, which is mental. How did you manage to do that, basically?
A lot of people have asked the same question, really. It was my 5th year at the Isle of Man TT, so I've got some good experience there, and it was my 2nd year with the Smiths Racing BMW team, and that makes a real big difference. You know, being a bit of continuity, the bikes are really good and the team's really good.
Do you think that you got to a point where you pretty much memorized every corner and do you think you have a good knowledge, or were there still bits where you had a bit to improvise?
There's always a bit where you have to not improvise, but maybe you need to learn better, or you feel like you can do better.
Okay.
I know the circuit inside out pretty much, but there's still sections of the circuit where I've not maybe felt particularly comfortable, or I've done it okay straight away, so I've kind of forgotten about that and worked on the parts that are more difficult. So now that I'm getting to the stage where I've done a few years and I've worked on them more difficult parts, I can now start revisiting back to the parts that I found maybe fairly natural to start with, but maybe I still need a little bit of improvement.
Natural question, I guess, after that would be, if you actually admit that there is still always room for improvement and that you are willing to do it, are you going to do the TT again?
Yeah, I'll be back at the TT in 2019, but how fast we go is determined on a lot of things, whether it's the weather. You know, we had such good weather here in 2018. It was absolutely fantastic, and we got lots and lots of riding in, and that's a little bit unusual. It also is limited by whether you need to do it or not. You know, if there's other riders there that are all having a good day as well and they're fast, you only need to win the race as fast as you need to win it.
I think loads of people would wonder, on such obviously a technical race that is probably the king race in every motorcyclist's mind, how much is it down to actual technical skills, and how much is it down to mental strength? How much did you knew and how much you had to learn, basically?
I think it's a bit of everything. You've got to have some sort of natural talent somewhere along the line to be able to actually ride a bike properly. You either have it or you don't, I think, and you'll find that out very quickly if you have or haven't. As for everything else, you know, nothing ever comes easy. You know, anything that's worth doing, you need to work at it and you need to put your heart and soul into it. You know, I put a lot of effort in, especially my first years at the TT. You know, it was fairly well documented how much I went over to the Isle of Man and drove a little Fiesta around and played the PlayStation even, and just learnt it as much as I could before I rode it. And you know, I knew where I was going before I started, and you know, the proof's in the pudding, really. I was fast immediately, and the only reason you can do that is if you know where you're going, and you can only know where you're going if you put the effort in.
Obviously, we talked about all that kind of preparation beforehand, knowing the track. Is there any physical preparation you do just before?
Well, I race in the British Superbike Championship anyway, so I'm already kind of physically fit. I'm already riding bikes, and there is no substitute for being bike fit. We call it. You know, it doesn't matter how much you go to the gym. If you've not ridden a bike for 6 months and you suddenly jump on a bike, you're going to ache in places that you don't even know you have muscles. And you know, there's no substitute for riding a bike, and I do that a lot. Another
question on that specific event, that is a TT. Do you think that the danger side to it makes it any more appealing, any more interesting as a race?
I think it makes it more interesting, yeah, for sure. I think human nature, we're drawn to danger, really, and the excitement of it. You know, that's what makes it exciting. I mean, bike racing's fairly exciting anyway, but it's exciting because of that element of danger, and because the Isle of Man TT is a road circuit, it's got lots of furniture, as we call it, all around the circuit, then it makes it more exciting, of course.
Just a few more questions that were asked on the Facebook page or any social media. From Miss Carol, if you could only have one bike in your garage, what would it be?
That's a difficult question. with my BMW shirt on. I should probably have a BMW, shouldn't I? Probably some sort of MotoGP bike, maybe current one, or maybe even one of the old 500s, the 2-strokes, or even maybe something more special than that, maybe like a Halewood or an Agostini MV from back in the 70s or something.
Question coming from Jan in the US. Would you give a go to the World Superbike Championship if you were offered the chance, or would you be happy to stay with the Tourist Trophy and the British Superbike Championship?
Well, of course, I'd love to go World Superbike. I mean, to go travel the world, go to some of the best race circuits in the world would be fantastic. I've had one kind of race in World Superbike. It was a wild card back in 2012 and really enjoyed myself. I had a top 10 finish, which was nice. But at the minute, I've not had the opportunity to have another go. And who's to say I can't do then the Tourist Trophy as well? You know, it's the TT is still there and nothing ever clashes with it. So maybe I could do both. One
question from Noel in Spain, who heard that you apparently also train for racetrack on PlayStation. Is it true? And if so, what is this training most helpful for?
Yeah, obviously, as I said already, when I was learning the TT course, I used the PlayStation. I used the old game, the PlayStation 2 game, and it was more about subconsciously doing something that was planning, basically. So I had the game set up on a simulation mode, so I would change the gears, I do the brakes, I do the accelerator and the turning. So for me, it was actually really accurate as far as time, and also the circuit itself was actually quite accurate. So I was driving the circuit myself, and then I'd also play it on the PlayStation, and I would change gear where I wanted to change gear, I'd brake where I wanted to brake. And for me, subconsciously, I was actually, it was all in my hands, but I was logging something in my brain that was saying, that's what I'm doing at this point, that's what I'm doing at that point. And I think, again, the proof's in the pudding. I've said that once already, but my first ever lap by myself was 109 mile an hour average, and my second lap was 115. And by lap 5, I did basically 120 miles an hour. It takes some people 2 years to do 120 miles an hour sometimes. So for sure, it wasn't just my natural talent, but it was the effort I put in, and I think also as well the PlayStation played a part in that.
Another question from Color Brown, MotoGP World Champion or more successful TT rider ever?
Tough one. Obviously I've never actually raced in MotoGP for a start. I would love to. I'd love to even ride a MotoGP bike, but would I want to be MotoGP champion or most successful TT rider ever? I'd probably go with the TT. Probably go with the TT. I mean, it started off as part of the GP Championship anyway, so technically it's the same.
And TT, what a race anyway. All right, well, thank you very much, and thank you for your time, Pete. Thank you.